Voldar, we are assigning you to a certain planet Earth. We want you to study the ways of the Earthlings. You will leave in the morning. Is that clear?
But I don't know anything about Earthlings. I'm not prepared for this.
But you are the only K-9 anthropologist we have.
But...
No buts, Voldar.
Then I guess I leave for planet Earth in the morning.
Houston, we have contact leaving the planet Novos, headed to planet Earth, and we are landing. The K-9 has landed on planet Earth. I repeat, we have landed on planet Earth.
Gorson's sending this K-9 anthropologist to Earth, but it does not matter. Earth can be a scary place to be when you're afraid of fleas, but it does not matter. I hope Voldar is happy after a while. I hope the planet Earth will make her smile. Well, put your head down, put your head on me. It's just a Voldar fantasy. Oh, put your head down, put your head on me. It's just a Voldar fantasy. Work out.
Voldar, Norwegian K-9 Anthropologist. Brought to you by Kirkwood Community College. Kirkwood, start here and go anywhere. Why are you sleeping on the doghouse?
Because Snoopy's dead, MF.
Good grief, this dog is going to drive me crazy.
Gosh darn, baby. I have to file my report to Gorson on affirmative action tomorrow. Can anyone tell me what affirmative action's all about?
Sure, Voldar. I'll tell you what affirmative action's all about. Lights, please.
Well, put your head down, put your head on me. It's just a Voldar fantasy.
The quota system says you must have X number of a disadvantaged or discriminated against group hired or accepted to the job or college. In 1978, the Supreme Court ruled in Regents of the University of California versus Bakke that public universities and other government institutions could not do quotas. They could not set specific numerical targets based on race for admissions or employment. So, for example, a college could not say, well, we have to have 7 women in our incoming program every semester. That would be the quota system, and that was ruled illegal.
So that was the end of affirmative action?
No, Voldar. The quota system is different from affirmative action. You see, affirmative action says that if you have 2 candidates and they're roughly equally qualified for a job, pick the person from the disadvantaged group.
Can you give another example?
Oh yeah, let me show you right now. Hang on. So here's the case. Suppose Blueberry College is deciding between the following applicants. Taylor is a white applicant, straight A's, got a 35 out of 36 on his ACT, and is from a wealthy South Carolina family. In fact, Taylor's great-great-great-grandfather owned a plantation with over 100 slaves. Now you have Jesse, who's a black applicant to Blueberry College. Jesse also got straight A's, also got a 35 on the ACT, but Jesse's from a very poor family that comes from a poor part of the Bronx in New York. And Jesse's great-great-great-grandfather had to give up his farm to white people.
He had to give his farm to white people? What happened here?
Oh, Voldar, we have a long history. A lot of bad things were done to African Americans. You know, to learn more about it, you should read an essay arguing for reparations by Ta-Nehisi Coates. It's in the Atlantic.
The Atlantic? But I can't even swim.
Oh, no, Voldar. The Atlantic is a magazine. I don't mean the ocean. So what do you think Blueberry College should do, Voldar? Should they give the job to Taylor or Jesse? Should they give the job to Jesse because of his background, or should they flip a coin since both applicants are equally good?
They should give it to Jesse to make up for what happened to his great-great-great-grandfather.
You know, that's one line of thought about this, that there should be compensation for past wrongs. So it's the compensatory argument. If we're going to treat people fairly, then we must compensate victims of racism and discrimination in some way that will at least lessen the negative effects of discrimination on their lives. If Mike smashed your car on purpose, you'd go to court to get compensated for that loss. Well then, by the compensation argument, Jesse should get admitted over Taylor, because doing so compensates him for that past injustice that affected him negatively.
Yay! Case closed. Now I can file my report to Gorson. Oh boy!
Well, not so fast, Voldar. It gets more complicated. To explain why, let me show you a couple of Supreme Court cases, okay?
Okay.
First, let me hit you with the case of Grutter versus Bollinger. When the University of Michigan Law School denied admission to a white female applicant, Barbara Grutter, who had a high GPA and a great LSAT score, she filed a suit alleging that the school's use of race as a predominant factor in their admissions policy resulted in discrimination against her on the basis of her race. The Supreme Court was almost split, but they narrowly ruled in favor of the practice of affirmative action.
But that's just what I said. It would be fair for Jesse to get the job, not Taylor.
Yeah, but the story didn't end with Grutter v. Bollinger. You see, a few years later, there was another case. Those who didn't like the Grutter decision got the issue of affirmative action put on the ballot in 2006. The majority of Michiganders voted against public institutions using the practice of affirmative action. And so in Schuette versus the Coalition to Defend Affirmative Action in 2014, the court ruled that Michigan voters had the right to ban affirmative action under the Equal Protection Clause. The Supreme Court said they had the right to make an amendment to the state's constitution to make affirmative action illegal in public education, employment, and contracting, except in cases where it was mandated by federal law, such as entities receiving federal funding.
But why, Chris?
Well, Voldar, they thought affirmative action was an unfair policy. For one thing, it will benefit some people who weren't disadvantaged. Should a rich woman, someone like in the position of Ivanka Trump, get picked for the job in the name of fairness, even if she hasn't suffered discrimination? Also, not every white person or male person who loses a job or position due to affirmative action is like Taylor. That is, not every person who is white and male has benefited unfairly from being white and male. And finally, they thought it was just unfair reverse discrimination against white people or males.
But isn't having affirmative action more fair than not having it? Isn't it more fair to let a few people get benefits they don't deserve than to let even more people not get benefits they do deserve? If you end affirmative action to avoid unfairly giving to rich, privileged women, you at the same time end it for the millions who are not rich and privileged and who have suffered from the effects of discrimination, don't you?
I think that's a pretty good point, Voldar. After all, when a business declares bankruptcy, it's not fair that everyone doesn't get their money back. However, the best the courts can do is make them pay as many debts as possible, because that's more fair than no one getting repaid. But there are a lot of considerations to be made. It's a complicated issue, more than we have time to do right now in this video, unfortunately.
Gosh darn, baby. Being an Earthling sure sounds complicated.
Most definitely, Voldar. But there are two basic ethical perspectives we often use to settle these debates. The Kantian perspective says all policies and actions should respect people as having worth and respect that people like to set and seek their own goals in life. It also says we shouldn't use people as a mere means to get something that someone else wants. Also, it considers whether the policy is fair to everyone concerned, kind of like the do unto others as you would have them do unto you statement from religion.
What's the other one?
What's the other one? Oh, the utilitarian perspective. It says that the best policies produce good consequences. Will the policy make the greatest number of people happier, better off, and so on?
But that can be hard to calculate, can it?
Oh, yeah. Really, both of the perspectives can be hard to apply in actual real-life situations, and it's also hard to know which of the two to pick to use to figure out what the right thing to do is in any particular situation. Kant's idea that we shouldn't use people as a mere means to get some end, even if that end is a social policy we think would be good. If we don't have affirmative action, we run the risk of using African Americans and women in the sense that we're just pushing the damage that's been done to them out of the way so we can continue with business as usual. But if we have affirmative action, we run the risk of using white males who themselves may not have done much, if anything, wrong, but who suddenly have less chance of getting a job or position at a college because of race.
It reminds me of that Paul Simon song you played me, where it says, "Every way you look at it, you lose."
Oh, Voldy, I know it's hard, but I'm just telling you what's happening here in the United States, at least, on planet Earth.
Could someone say that having affirmative action would, on utilitarian grounds, be good because it would reduce racism and sexism, increase tolerance and understanding, and provide role models for disadvantaged groups?
Yes, people have made those very kinds of arguments in favor of the policy. You've got people arguing both for and against affirmative action. You know, some argue that it doesn't actually do those things for various reasons, that it fails to reduce racism and sexism, that it doesn't really create greater understanding or more tolerance, and that it doesn't really provide role models for disadvantaged groups. But, you know, it's always hard to calculate to figure out if a policy does or does not perform the best consequences. I mean, even if the policy isn't perfect, shouldn't something be tried to make it better than if we did nothing?
Wow, that blows my mind.
Excellent report, Voldar.
Oh, Gorson, I didn't know you were listening.
Your reward shall be 4 Scooby snacks.
Did you say Snoopy snacks or Scooby snacks?
Well, I hope you're happy, Voldar.
I think I'm going to like planet Earth.
Me too, Voldar. Me too.
This is Voldar from Noros, signing out until next show. Nanu nanu.
Gorson sending this K-9 anthropologist to Earth. But it does not matter. Earth can be a scary place to be when you're afraid of fleas. But it does not matter. I hope Voldar is happy after a while. I hope the planet Earth will make her smile. Well, put your head down, put your head on me. It's just a Voldar fantasy. Oh, put your head down, put your head on me. It's just a Voldar fantasy. Work out.